Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to Bowl TV for continued coverage of the 2021 U.S. Open taking place at the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. My name is Aaron Smith with USBC Communications and Bowl TV, and we've been here all throughout the competition, starting with the Masters last week into the U.S. Open. Qualifying, we're at the halfway point today, heading into match play on Friday, along with the Cashers round. But first things first, we have 108 players in the field. We got to get down to 36. So we have 3 rounds to do that, 8 games a day, 24 games total to determine the top 36. But over the course of that, these competitors, these great competitors, have to tackle 3 different challenging oil patterns. Yesterday, 36-foot. We saw some scores out there, which, we kind of expected to see from the practice session. Jacob Butchev absolutely destroyed it, plus 314 for the day, averaging nearly 240. Today's going to be a little bit different, folks. So if you are a fan of people taking 2 shots, excellent spare shooting, and potentially a little bit of frustration, today is your day. We are combating the 40-foot flat condition here at the USO. So this is going to be a test of attrition to make it through today. Hopefully not too unscathed and in good position for day 3 to make a run for that first cut. So with that, we're going to go ahead and go to the lanes. We'll bring in the Bowl TV team of myself, Matt Cannizzaro, and then on site in Reno, Jason Thomas and Mike Flanagan a little bit later. But we're going to go ahead and settle in. So let's go to the lanes. And we are going to kick things off today with Michael Davidson, who had a pretty solid day yesterday. We'll talk a little bit more about that. Daniel McCune, another good day. And then Michael Mirabile, who has a unique style of getting to the lanes, but we've seen him at both events, so we'll see if he can get it going. He's a little bit farther back, but that's what it's all about, trying to put yourself in position to make a run in the final day. But with that, let's bring in Jason Thomas, who is fresh off his birthday appearance yesterday at the U.S. Open. We'll welcome him to Bowl TV. JT, what's up?
Hey, good morning. How you doing, Aaron Smith?
I'm doing all right. I think I'm feeling a little more energetic than potentially some of these players today on this 40-foot flat condition.
Yeah, no, it's certainly, day 2 at the U.S. Open, and this one's going to be the tough one. Flat 40-foot oil pattern. The players are ready for it, I think. And I will go on the record early today and say that someone will get them today and shoot 200 over. I don't know who it's going to be. I'm really hoping it's Chris Prather, because he's on my team. He didn't have a great opening day yesterday, but I honestly think he will have a big day today. But someone's going to get him.
Last year when we hit the flat, we had only 2 players connect for a block over plus 100. That was Norm Duke and Bill O'Neill, which probably no surprise with those 2 great shot makers. But yeah, this is a little bit different than the form we saw last year. The flat pattern hit on day 3, which was cut day. So obviously big implications to making it to the next round, continuing your quest toward the finals. Had to make it through that. And, it was, we talked about it. You mentioned, I think it was Packy Hanrahan, had a day where he went plus 20 and moved up about 40 spots in the standings, something crazy like that. So that's what they're potentially up against today. We'll see if it plays out that way, but we're going to go ahead and start with these folks. We're going to go full screen as well, but we're still going to join you throughout the broadcast with notes and nuggets along the way. Folks, we added a new tab for the good people watching on Bowl TV. If you got the chat up right now, and feel free to test this out throughout the course of the day to see how it works. A new option available in the tabs above the chat. The second one to the right of it, or I guess the one directly to the right of it, actually goes to the results page on bowl.com now. So there you can find the oil pattern, you can find the results, you can find the lane pairings, the live scoring as well. So if you go ahead and click on that, scroll through that, give it a try. Once again, this was a brand new edition this week, so we're giving it a shot. Let us know how it works for you, but that's kind of where all the information can be found. Although it looks like live scoring not quite up yet, so we'll have to bother some folks on site to make sure that gets up here sooner rather than later for you. But taking a quick look again at the round one scores, Jacob Buttriff, as we mentioned, plus 314, leading the way. Low game of 222 along the way, very consistent. High game of 248. Sean Lavery-Spar was in second, plus 251. Brent Boho, a nice day, plus 243. Pontus Anderson in fourth place at plus 237. And then Michael Davidson, who we're watching right now, plus 232, your top five. Mentioned Danielle, she's at plus 145. That was good for 19th place. And then Michael tied for 74th, also on our featured pair. The current cut to 36 after day number one, which will probably not be the same score a little bit later today. Plus 90. So plus 90, the number for the top 36 after day one.
We mentioned on the show yesterday, Aaron, that Danielle McEwen is wearing a regular athletic shoe on her right foot rather than her usual bowling shoe. And the reason for that, we found out, is that she actually had an injury coming into the week prior to the Masters, actually, where she dropped some bowling balls on her right foot and so had some pain and swelling. And so the tennis shoe was really to alleviate the issues. And she said it really bothered her during the Masters. And she said it's doing much better, and had a really nice day yesterday to start off the event, to put herself in good position going into today. And, I would expect her to be one of the players that's able to navigate this 40-foot flat oil pattern and hang on to her number. She's the defending U.S. Women's Open champion, and obviously those conditions were about as difficult as what the players are going to experience here today. But she knows how to keep the ball in play and make her spares. So she knows if she can just come out and shoot 20, 30 over today, that's going to go a long way to keeping her at the high end of the leaderboard.
Certainly frightening. You mentioned multiple bowling balls. It sounded like not just one, multiple.
Well, yeah, they they usually come in packages of 3 now with the triple ball totes. So I don't know the exact story on what happened. She basically said, I said, how did it happen? She said, well, I'm just an idiot. And I said, well, I don't know about that, but they are bowling balls. So they do, if you've ever watched Naked Gun 2.5, you know that bowling balls fall on things and they hurt people when they do that.
Well, taking a look at the standings from last year's event at Sun Valley Lanes, Danielle actually, when they hit the flat pattern on day 3, went plus 21 with a pretty consistent effort overall. High game of 227, low game of 186. So once again, we'll see if that trend continues throughout.
Yeah, and anybody in the field today, I think, with the exception of Chris Prather, maybe, who, again, I'm counting on to shoot a big score today, would probably take 20 over right now and just move on to tomorrow.
As we mentioned this week, if this is your first time joining us on Bowl TV, well, thank you. We appreciate it. Day 2 of 3 for qualifying. After 24 games, the top 36 players from our 108 player field will advance after 3 rounds, 24 games. That cashers round, which will be on Friday, will be another 8 games, and then we'll cut to the top 24 for round-robin match play. The good news about round-robin match play is bonus pins get added as well. So for the 24 who advance, they will get to bowl 24 additional games with 30 bonus pins for every victory, 15 for a tie, 0 for a loss. And when it's all said and done, that'll be 56 games in the books for the players who advance to match play. And then total pinfall with bonus pins included. We'll determine the top 5 for Sunday's FS1 broadcast at 2 p.m. Eastern. So that is the tournament format this week. So we mentioned multiple patterns. So for each of the qualifying days, day 1, day 2, day 3, a different pattern. Day 1 was 36 feet. Today is 40 feet. And tomorrow is 44. And then once we get to the cashers round, there will be a 4th pattern, which will be used for the rest of the event. 42 feet in length. Does appear we are getting there with live scoring, so thanks to the folks on site for making that happen. Once again, a great resource. We do have a few pairs that aren't on our live stream. So for those, best way to keep up, and we use it pretty heavily as well, just to kind of keep track of the day, see how some of the competitors are doing. It's a great resource, even though it doesn't necessarily have the plus minus from the previous day. You can kind of gauge where someone is at for the block, and then reference the standings from round 1, round 2, whatever it may be. But there are some strikes out there, so. Not to say there's some struggles too, but AJ Johnson has 6 out of the first 7, but a 4-4 in the one frame he did not strike. Christian Azcona started with the front 4 for a spare and an open, then a double after that. Brent Boho, 6 out of 7. He had a fantastic day yesterday. We mentioned him in the top 10. Brian Robinson, nice little clean start over on 37-38. Stu Williams, 6 out of the first 7. Saw Michael Davidson make his PBA Tour TV debut earlier this year at one of the regional stops for the Players Championship. Former collegiate standout at Calumet College up in Whiting, Indiana. Which is just outside Chicagoland. As JT mentioned with Danielle, 2019 U.S. Women's Open champion. That event coming back later this year as part of the PWBA Tour schedule in 2021. 17 events still left to go this season. So I saw someone mention it in the chat. I believe it was Zach. Picking up our annual subscription promo that's going on at the moment until Saturday. Available $49.95 for a one-year subscription to Bowl TV, which not only gets obviously gets you the U.S. Open that we're watching right now, but gets the rest of 2021 and even into 2022. We have 17 events left on the PWBA Tour season, starting up its second swing just a couple of weeks, April 22nd. We got the ITC sectionals coming up next weekend. As Michael gets the lean on the 7 and the 10. Then the ITC and ISC, the national championship for collegiate bowling, will be early May. We got some top-tier senior events like the Super Senior Classic, the Senior Masters, Senior Queens again in 2022. The Junior Gold Championships, it's basically a month-long party in July for us from Indianapolis this year, all on Bowl TV. We got new stuff coming up, the Bowlers Journal Team Championship Series. That's scheduled to be in the fall. Of course, we've had a pretty heavy collegiate schedule in the past. Regular season will be starting up again in the October-September area. And then we're back at it. New year. That means team trials. USBC Amateur Championship as well. So share the news on social. Let your friends know this is the time to take advantage. Pick up Bowl TV. Scores starting to roll in. Christian Azcona, 234. Nice effort here in game one. Brent Boho, a chance to get to 239. Francois Lavoie with, he did have a chance at 230. Now it's going to be 209 max score. Stu Williams in the 230s. Zach Tackett can get to 238. Boho missed the single pin in the 10th, 227. Still a nice start, though, but do not liking those pins slipping away here. Especially on makeables. Stu Williams, 235, final tally. So we'll have a couple all right numbers to start things off. But certainly nothing too crazy like what we saw yesterday.
Yeah, see Stu Williams off to a good start. He's one of my horses, 235. Zach Tackett shooting a pretty good game here on that same pair. Jason Belmonte is going to shoot a game over 200, so possible 216 for him. That's a good start.
We are really seeing the variety that the flat pattern can offer as far as the scoring pace.
Danielle trying to bail out 169 here.
Francois 209. AJ Johnson is split in the 10th for 208. Jesper Svensson over on 53 and 54 I was going to say he could have shot 247, but looks like he did not get the first strike in the 10th. Drops that max down to 226. So a couple 220s, a couple 230s. Zach Tack at 238. I'm not sure, JT. What's the energy level like in there right now for the players, knowing they get 7 more games on this?
It's not bad. I mean, the thing is, and this was kind of the nice thing about the way we mentioned the kinder and gentler Nick Hoagland putting this pattern out for day 2. I think the players coming into today, have a lot more patience because they know this is coming. They know they have one more day to make up any ground that they lose on a pattern that's a lot more scoreable, tomorrow's pattern. So I think there's a lot of patience right now among the players. You may see that fray as the day goes on because, the best laid plans, tend to, go by the wayside when, you're 100 under for the first 6 games of the block and you're already behind the 8 ball. So you may see some frustration a little bit later in the day, in terms of this squad and the other squads that come up later this afternoon and this evening. But right now, there's just a lot of patient looks, a lot of trying to stay calm, not get too frazzled. And, they also know there's still quite a lot of games left.
Just a little patience. Yeah.
Exactly.
Sounds like a great song opportunity. All right, game 2 going to be coming up next. As we saw there, 186, the high game on the pair. So those players will be looking to improve upon that, and we'll take a look at a different group here in game 2. So we will check the lane pairings and see who we got. We had some good games from Christian Ascona and Brent Boho. They're also paired up with Gary Faulkner Jr. on 63 and 64. So as we get the cameras switched, we will head over that way. Just a reminder, folks, be sure to tell your friends, share it on social media about the super promo VIP special offer, $49.95 for a full year of Bowl TV. This limited time offer will last until Saturday, this Saturday, April 10th. Before it goes back to the regularly scheduled price of $79.95. Once again, folks, those cameras will be switched over in just a moment. All right, everybody, we are into game number 2 of our 8-game block, round 2 qualifying for B squad competitors at the 2021 U.S. Open. Nice cover there by Gary Faulkner Jr., who led qualifying at the USBC Masters last week at the NBS. He's joined by Brent Boho, who was, I want to say, third overall after yesterday's opening round, plus 243, off to a nice start here in the opener. 227. Christian Ascona was just outside the top 10 after day 1, plus 195. He was in the 230s in game number 1 here today. So we'll see how these guys are attacking the pattern. And I had a good question in the chat about the way the players had moved with these, with kind of the spacing out there. Of course, social distancing and procedures and protocols in place this week for the Masters and the U.S. Open, or previously the Masters and now the U.S. Open. So essentially, very unique, something new and different with the buffer pairs in between. Essentially, especially for games 1 and 2, you will go to a pair that no one else is bowled on. So essentially, you are hitting the fresh 2 times in a row to start the block. So certainly makes it tricky, and finding ways to fill frames and maintain the pocket certainly at a premium, but all that is in part for athlete and staff safety. The NBS staff is actually going and disinfecting the area after someone bowls on a pair. So these guys were on 61 and 62 before, so that area had been cleaned in between games. Gary is spare shooting right now. Got the washout, then the 3-7. Another good question in the chat from Ricky, asking about the PTQ, kind of how that worked. So the U.S. Open for the past couple of years, players have earned spots in it. We've had a limited field, so it was 144 for a couple of years, now 108 players, and it was based off of, or the players who earned automatic spots into the event. It was based off of previous performances, so a majority of it going to past PBA major champions, obviously past champions in the last 10 years at the U.S. Open, players on the point list on the PBA tour, but also goes to players who have had success at some of the USBC short duration events. So, for instance, the past three winners, or winners from the past 3 years at the USBC Open Championships in the all events category, earned an invitation. Members of Junior Team USA, Team USA as well. So essentially there was a set amount of individuals who received an invite to compete. And then the PTQ was always going to happen. But as players either accepted or declined, if someone declined, that spot went into the PTQ. So it was essentially based off of whether or not folks accepted the invitations or not. So by the time it was all said and done for this year, we ended up having 43 spots come from the PTQ, which we live streamed here on Bull TV on Sunday night after the Masters telecast on FS1. And that completed our 108 player field for 2021. Christian and Brent are doing a real nice job of keeping the ball in play here. Both using urethane. Taking a look at live scoring. Jason Belmonte. Front of 5 to kick things off. He had 2:16 in the opener. Currently on lanes 31 and 32. Eight total channels available to view. As I mentioned, don't have quite all the pairs in play, but we have a pretty good selection, and you'll get to see most of the players throughout the course of the day funnel through the various channels. But If you're looking for those, if you're on a desktop or a laptop, you can find the channel navigation below the video. You might have to scroll a little bit to the right. We do have quite a few of them there, as we mentioned. In addition to this commentary channel, 8 additional feeds from the National Bowling Stadium at the moment. If you're on a mobile device, that channel navigation can be found in the top right-hand corner. You'll see a 4-box window pane that will allow you to access the same information, and then you can just pick on the lanes you'd like to watch.
Aaron, we did update our little fantasy game standings last night, and we'll have an update on that a little bit later when Mike Flanagan comes in. But just one of the things that was interesting to note, out of all the picks we made, 6 teams, 6 players on each team, 36 players, there were only 3 players that were picked that were in the top 10 yesterday, which is pretty amazing if you think about it, because the picks generally represent, the top players on the PBA tour. A few of us picked some of the, top amateurs. Matt Cannizzaro went out and picked Solomon first, and he ended up, leading or second on the squad last night, so he did quite well. But a lot of names are at the top of the leaderboard that we're not used to seeing, in a major championship. And one of those was, one of the gentlemen we're watching here this game, Brent Boho. And, what tends to happen in these events, and I've seen it so many times, probably the most glaring example was, Kelly Kulick when she won the Tournament of Champions. You see some name on the leaderboard who's a Cinderella story, and you want to root for them, and you want to see them do well, and you want to see them make the finals. But typically, more often than not, they eventually fade off, and the Belmos and the Prathers and the EJ Tackett's of the world overtake them. But what we're seeing from Brent Boho here is pretty remarkable. We all know he's a good player. We've seen him at team trials, and he's done very well there. Had a really great youth career, but at some point, players they rise to the challenge and they move up to the next level. And what we're seeing out of Brent here today is pretty solid. I mean, had to sit on overnight with sitting in 3rd place at the U.S. Open. A lot of nerves can creep in when you see your name up on that leaderboard with Jacob Buttriff and Jason Belmonte and Chris Prather and some of the other names. But he came out of the gate strong, and he's bowling a solid game here in game 2.
Yeah, up until that shot, had done a really nice job of just maintaining the 1-3. Getting the hits when you get it. He had a 9-pin in there. He had a 10-pin. Trying to control the pattern here with the urethane. Christian doing the same thing and having some success. So you mentioned he was in the 230s in game 1, and can still get to 270 if he strikes out this game. Taking a look at live scoring, once again, a variety of numbers out there, but Belmo, 6 out of the first 7. Can still shoot 277 this game. Sam Cooley can get to 234, getting ready for his 10th frame. Danielle McCune, nice comeback. She had a nice little 6-bagger in the middle of game 2.
Yeah, nice bounce back game for her after the rough start.
Spencer Robarge working on 4 in a row right now. Made the show at the Masters. Some clean games from A.J. Johnson and Francois Lavoie.
I'd have to say the players that are on the other two squads today who are watching have to be pretty encouraged about what they're seeing.
I mean, just watching these two guys right here, I feel have shown a decent plan to have in the bag of tricks. Nothing too fancy from what Christian and Brent are doing, just to try and keep it in play.
Yeah, urethane in the track.
I feel I shouldn't underscore it like that, though, because I mean, you got to be really, really close with it to do that. But not too much. They're still making great shots out there. That's why they put up the big scores. But they've found a way to create just a little bit of area, which is when you're bowling essentially in a phone booth like these players will be today. That's it's going to go a long way. All right, everybody, we do have a score update after one, so we'll go ahead and get to that in just a moment. We'll drop the link in the Bowl TV chat as well. So Brent Boho with that 227 in the opener game, now leading the way on B squad. He's at plus 270. Sean Lavery Spar plus 237 overall. He went 186 in game one. Christian Ascona 234 to get to plus 229. Anthony Nyer, 202. He's at plus 223 overall. Zach Tackett, he's been having just a really nice run here in Reno. Had a nice showing at the Masters, 300 game at the PTQ, and now off to a nice start here at the US Open. 238 in game one. He's at plus 211 overall. Michael Davidson drops to plus 207 after 175. Chris Weig, 173 in the opener. He drops to plus 203. Jesper Svensson shot 223 that game. He's now at plus 158. Carl Wahlgren falling a little bit back. He had 170. Now at plus 145. Belmo with that 216 got to plus 131. Brian Robinson, 222. Another player who's had a real nice week and a half or so in the biggest little city in the world. 222 to get to plus 118. Michael Tang, 188. Drops to plus 106. Danielle drops to plus 103 after that 158. And then first player outside the plus 100 mark on B squad at the moment, Francois Lavoie, the two-time U.S. Open champion. 209 to get to plus 99. 168 for Gary Faulkner Jr. He's going to move to minus 29. 225 still out there for Ascona with a strike on the fill. And we'll call it 222. That'll give him to plus 251, moving in the right direction. Christian Ascona, PBA Tour champion. Let's see, as we take a quick glance at live scoring. Stu Williams, another nice game. He is at plus 46, 211. Zach Tackett at plus 61. So some nice starts over there. Belmo with 232 that game, so he's at plus 48 on the day. Nice bounce back game for Tim Foy. He went 240. He's now minus 8 for the day. Once again, that's just for the 2-game total, not the overall scores. Sam Cooley, 223 to get to minus 14 on the day. Brian Robinson, another nice game. He's at plus 54 on the day. Danielle McCune finishes with 230, so she's up to 388 for her 2 games. 209 finish there for Brett Boho. He's now at plus 279. So nothing too crazy out there, but once again, quite a few well-bowled games.
Players looks like game 2 is complete. We're to game number 3 and begin.
All right, folks, we're going to, once again, JT is switching up the cameras here for the next matchup, so those will all be up as soon as our final pair finishes up across the house, and then they'll get the okay to start up the next game. Let's
Players looks like game 2 is complete. We're to game number 3 and begin.
Let's go to 45 and 46. Stu Williams and Zach Tackett bowling well. They're going to be there for game 3. So as we get ready for that, we will toss up the schedule, the Bowl TV schedule for the rest of the week. Keep an eye on Sunday with the pregame and postgame shows around the FS1 telecast. We did that for the Masters as well. It was a good time. Got to chat with some of the players before the show. Then do the same afterwards with champion Thomas Larson and third place finisher Spencer Robarge. So good times were had by all. Once again, we're getting those cameras switched up right now. In just a moment. But go take a look at Stu Williams and Zach Tackett next. There they are. All right. Also going to be joined by Brandon Curtis. Brandon at minus 121. Zach now plus 234, and Stu making the move at plus 70. So we'll see their strategy to the pocket here and see what's been working for them so far. Looks like Zach is Zach into fourth arrow. How about that? That's the first time, at least what we've watched so far, seeing someone play that far to the left. So can't argue. It looked pretty good right there, but be curious how that progresses throughout the course of the block. Stu's going to be going pretty straight here with urethane. And as Michael has mentioned in the Bold TV chat, we will have a prize giveaway coming up a little bit later today. So be on the lookout for that. We will give you the heads up when it's time to enter. Very simple to do. All you have to do is there will be a prompt on your screen that has a button that says submit entry. Once again, we will give you full notice before it's time to happen. So you'll know. But be on the lookout for that later today here on boldtv.com. Frame 2 for Zach. So we saw his first offering on the left lane, and would assume a similar strategy here. Crossing over fourth arrow, but a little less favorable outcome there. The 4-6-7. We saw one of these picked up yesterday. Martin Larson. Doing so during our final block. So we've seen a handful of conversions like that here on our Bold TV featured pairs, pair of big fours, one from Carlos Granados, and then one yesterday by Jillian Martin. And then the 4-6-7 from Martin last night. And folks, if you want to take a second and head over to our Facebook page, the Sport of Bowling USBC, give it a follow, give it a like. We actually have video of Martin's 4-6-7 split conversion available to check out. And if you're wondering why I'm yelling so much, it's because it was the 20th game of the day for us here on Bold TV 24. So that point of the evening sometimes gets a little wacky. That's all that was happening there. Jason Thomas is back.
I saw my guy is on an epic run right here. Stu Williams shredding him.
Stu is getting all the hits. Good clean living right there. Yeah, yeah.
Slap it off.
JT, I'm more intrigued. Zach Tackett's had himself a nice day. He is attacking this pattern completely different from the others we've watched here on the main commentary channel. He has been in between fourth and fifth arrow, where we've seen most of the guys attacking it pretty straight with urethane up in the track.
Yeah, I think both of those strategies are in play, and that's why I think someone's going to get 200 over today. It's still a 40-foot flat pattern, but most of these players bowl the Masters, so they're sharp. They're used to bowling on some tough stuff, and they know how to attack these flat patterns. And even though there's not as many games being bowled, so the lanes can't blow open as quickly as they normally would, they are going to be able to create a little bit of room in an 8-game block. And so if you can just hang on the first couple of games and not do any damage, you should have a little bit of a look. And obviously it's dependent pair to pair. You could hit a bad pair, but there should be a little bit of something out there for the players to score.
Just a little bit of something. Let's see if Stu can keep it going here. He did not keep it going here.
No, but that's an easy spare. That's all you want to do is catch a double here and there. Leave some makeable spares. Don't do anything foolish. Spare them up and move on. Brian Robinson is great. He's my new favorite bowler, Aaron Smith. He's just bowling off to our right here on 49 and 50. And he's bowling a good game. He's at plus 150. He's got strike, spare, turkey, spare, strike. And threw a strike in the seventh frame and came back to me and did this motion where he just kind of pointed to his face in a circle. And so I was like, okay, that's interesting. He comes back and says, hey, have you seen this thing where the guys on our staff are calling me the face of the brand? And I think they're messing with me, but saying I'm the face of the brand. And so that was the little hand gesture that I was doing. Just, hey, I'm the face of the brand. Face of the brand, JT. He's so great.
He's gotten off to a strong start here. We just posted scores after 2. Still my favorite part. And folks, once again, we've talked a little bit about the back end of what it's like on Bowl TV for us. So even though I'm in Texas and JT is in Reno right now, we could actually see each other. And I always love it because JT is very you like using your hands when you talk.
Very animated. I'm half Italian, so that's where it comes from.
All right. And JT was actually doing the circle around the face, and I could see it, and it was great. So obviously you folks couldn't see that, but it was good stuff. So I always enjoy that. I know we were talking about someone's release the other day, and you were actually, I could see you like doing the motion of the release, and like as you were explaining it, you were creating that same snap of the wrist. I just love it. It's the little things. I was talking with Mike Larson today. It's always the little things that make the day make you smile throughout the course of the day. So keep doing those things, JT.
The
I love
other
it.
thing, yeah, I will. I'll even here. I'll show you. Let's show it on the screen.
You want to go to the screen? All right.
Yeah, let's just. So there's the face. That's what. And then here's the hand thing. Okay, there it is. Just a little bit. We went around that one a little bit. Went around it.
It's too much thumb. Too much thumb.
But Brian Robinson from West Virginia, he always has to mention that, right? Like, I'm from West Virginia, and usually it's a joke, about West Virginia. But yesterday, Chad Murphy texted me, and he said, "Does anybody?" And there was a few other folks on the chain. It was the group that's in the fantasy draft. Does anybody know what the #1 most downloaded song in Germany was today? And of course, me being me, said, "Was it Jesper Svensson's Strike Song?" And Chad said, "No, but it should be. That's a great one." But he said, "Country Roads, Take Me Home, John Denver" was the #1 streamed song in Germany. And the reason I bring that up is because of the West Virginia and John Denver connection there. But yeah, anybody made me want to move to Germany right away. I still appreciate John Denver there.
How about that? West Virginia.
Yeah, who knew? Who would have thought that?
It's a nice little line in the song, though. It's a very powerful one. I'm trying to think of what movie it is now. There's two of them.
I should know this. Is it Coal Miner's Daughter?
No, it's the Kingsman, the second Kingsman movie.
Oh yeah.
And that song's like a theme throughout it, and the one guy sings it at the very end, and he's just belting it. But I never hear the John Denver version anymore. I only hear that version. Well, if you haven't seen it, I'm not going to spoil what happens right after that, but because it's not necessarily good for that guy. But that's how I hear that song every time. So when you mention it, I just hear that. But
country roads take me home to the place I belong. I would belt it out, but it's.
I was ready to put you full screen right there for the rest
West
of that.
Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home, take me home. There, that's it. That's all you get.
Some
I'm saving it for the record.
Some confused individual just jumped into Bowl TV right then and there and had no idea what they were getting themselves into. We're having a good time, folks. Stu Williams, 233. Could have been a lot more with an open in the 10th, but in the right direction, plus 103 overall now. Zach Tackett gives a few pins back, 176. He's at plus 210. 208 for Brandon Curtis as we are once again ready.
And Tennille wanted me to mention that they like Hasselhoff in Germany too.
The Hoff.
Don't hassle the Hoff. And that applies to Tennille Milligan as well. She's a Hoff. Hall of Famer.
Certainly so. So we're wrapping up here. The chats or the comments in the chat are rolling in. JT, by the way. Carl says JT with the pipes. Jennifer, Bowl TV karaoke night. Karaoke on Bowl TV. That is above the subscription pricing. Nice voice. Aaron needs to sing as well. No,
I would have expected.
Chris.
Can we get back to the bowling, please?
Well, that was perfect timing because there was no bowling going on that pair at the moment. It was just right at the end of the match. It worked out so well.
Thank goodness.
Let's see. That pair finished up pretty quick. So you got anyone with a full 10th frame left to go?
Yeah, Belmo and Tang and Granados on 41 and 42.
All right, let's head over there real quick. We'll throw the Bowl TV schedule up for just a second. And unfortunately, poor timing there for Belmo. for our camera change. Big 4 in the 10th. He had been clean. Similar to Stu, going to have a nice game, but unless he's able to get the hit. We've seen this picked up at least twice so far this week. Just looking at open in frame 10, but moving in the right direction. $222 is going to move him up to plus 185. Michael Tang moving down some spots today. Now at plus 61. For Granados, 191. He's at minus 171. We mentioned we did have some scores after 10. Leading on B squad at the moment through 2 games, 10 overall. Brent Boho at plus 279. Christian Ascona plus 251. Sean Lavery Spar plus 239. Zach Tackett plus 234. But as we saw, he's going to drop down a couple spots there. Michael Davidson plus 220, Chris Fye plus 211, Anthony Nair plus 206. Some of the top scores there. But folks are taking a look at live scoring real quick. Brent Boho, another nice game. He is impressing so far. 675 for his first 3. Continuing to find ways. Had a great day yesterday and continuing it today. Past junior Team USA member, collegiate standout at St. Ambrose. AJ Johnson at 644 for today. Nathan Bohr, 633. Stu, 679. Continuing on. Belmo, plus 70 on the day. Zach Tackett, 637, gave a few pins back after the 176. Osku, 644. Brian Robinson. $682. The John Denver helped. Brian Bourget had a big game going. He actually could have shot 290, split in the 10th for 253, but he's at 684. Yes, for Svensson, 641. So those are the most of the folks, I believe, plus through 3 games here specifically on this block.
Our players have moved to game 4 pair and begin game 4.
So game 4, who do we want to watch game 4? If we stay on this particular channel, we will have Francois Lavoie, 2-time U.S. Open champion, Nathan Bohr, and A.J. Johnson coming to Bowl TV. So looks like they'll be on, there they are, 39 and 40. AJ now to plus 27, so moving in the right direction. He was minus after his 8 games yesterday. Nathan plus 96, Francois plus 84.
Frankie, 2-time U.S. Open champion, showing us the out of bounds there, giving us a little tour of the OB. So just when we say, this pattern is more scoreable than we thought, one of the best in the world shows us some of the pitfalls of if you don't hit your target. But leaves an easy spare, and he's at plus 84 going into game number 12 here. We mentioned numbers yesterday where players kind of thought they needed to be after the first day. And Aaron, you put me on the spot and asked me what a number was that I thought would be good. And I said 100 over. And I really think that number stays the same today. I really think that, if you're at 100 over after today, you're going to feel like you're in pretty good shape.
I'll follow that up with another question, though, for you, JT.
Sure.
Put you on the spot again.
Okay.
During yesterday's block, we had 31 players total. So, nearly the cut field or the cut line. 31 had at least 3 digits in the plus number. Starting at plus 105 with AJ Chapman in 31st place. But do you think it's going to stay right around that overall? Or do you think that, obviously with the scoring pace, you think we'll see, the cut line get a little bit closer to that? Or you think it's going to go a little bit farther on this particular condition?
Yeah, I would think that it will stay about where it is. I think that's why I think 100 over is a good number to shoot for, because it'll get you into that cut line, and it'll also give you a crack at getting into the top 24. So yeah, I wouldn't expect to see that number move all that much today. If anything, it might go down a few pins. But again, I don't think they are as brutal as they normally would be on a 40-foot flat oil pattern. But it's a smaller field, so the players who do have train wrecks, it's gonna magnify that number where the cut number ends up being. And I'll tell you, Jason Belmonte's in front of me right now on 47 and 48. He's playing way left like we saw Zach Tackett, but he's got a very, very nice looking ball reaction. He's a plus 185, and he's out of the gates here in game number 12 with the front two.
We got a front two. You're saying we got a chance.
Yes, exactly.
Let's go.
Have to get Mike Flanagan out here running around chasing 300 games. But, the other thing to look for is we saw Stu Williams last game, shot a pretty good game with urethane, but looked like he might have been losing his look towards the end of the game there. How much longer before he makes the jump to reactive and moves way left and tries to hook the lane? That's the question, because you're not going to be able to stay there all day with urethane. It's just going to get too nasty. The fronts are going to start to hook. Down lane, there's going to be some carry down from the urethane that's gone down the lane here this morning. So how much longer can you stay in that choice without jumping left and throwing reactive?
And JT, you mentioned a big jump. These guys are skipping zones once that move happens. You're thinking.
Yeah, and absolutely. And, the thing that makes it more difficult when that happens is all of the urethane that goes down the lane in the early part of the block. That's going to create a bunch of carry down. And so really one of the reasons why lanes open up is because typically players will migrate together and play the same part of the lane with the same type of equipment. And so if everybody's throwing reactive and breaking the lanes down similarly, a very defined track develops. And as the block goes on, you can get left of that track and start to create a little bit of room for yourself. But if everybody throws urethane, that migration doesn't happen the same way. There isn't that defined V that builds into the front part of the lane. If you're looking down on the lane from above and you imagine the oil pattern, this is something you very much see on the PBA telecasts and the Masters telecast that we had with the red oil. a V will start to develop on the lane where the traffic is happening. And then the players will just get to the left side of that V and use the part of the lane that's burned up as their swing area. And so when you don't have everybody playing the lanes the same way and half the field throwing urethane, that V doesn't develop as quickly, and maybe not at all. And so we saw some decent scores at the beginning of the block, but we'll see how the transition that they've created will impact their ability to score later in the block. And that's starting to happen right about now.
Potentially some big decisions coming up here for our 36 players out on the lanes right now. Once again, 3 squads today. C squad on the lanes at 4 p.m. Eastern. A squad will wrap things up at 9 p.m. Eastern. All available here on Bolt TV.
I think what we're watching here with Francois is, the wheels are turning as to whether he's going to make the change. He's been able to hold it together so far in this block with the urethane, but we're starting to see his look maybe go away a little bit. And, it could have been just that errant shot he threw in the first. It's very easy to subconsciously say, hey, you don't have any room to the right, so let's keep these left, and then pinch one a little bit left and then put yourself through the nose. So let's see how long he can stay in this urethane ball before he makes the jump. My guess is he'll try to stay there for the rest of this game. Nice shot there. And then on his fill ball, he will get a look at a different ball, a reactive ball from way in. And depending on how that looks, you may see him make the switch right at the start of the next game. But that's the nice thing about the U.S. Open, and it's also what differentiates it from the Masters, is that in the Masters, you might just make the ball change because you've only got 5-game blocks. You've only got 15 games of qualifying before you move on to the match play, and you really don't have a lot of time to be patient. Whereas here, he can afford to be patient and give this urethane ball the rest of the game while he's trying to figure out what to do. And obviously Francois Lavoie knows how to win this tournament. He's won it twice. He's one of only a few players to have done that. So he knows how to navigate his way through the qualifying. But it's just interesting how the different mentalities based on the events that you're playing play into the strategy. There's some good comments in the chat about the colored oil. I will say one thing which is pretty interesting. I remember when I was working for PBA and the blue oil was rolled out for the first time, and a lot of fans were questioning whether that actually made the game a little bit more easy for the pros because they could see the oil. And what was interesting was the players actually thought it made it harder because then, they're trained to read ball motion without seeing where the oil is. And a few of them said, sometimes they find themselves paying a little bit too much attention to what's going on with the oil rather than just reading ball motion. And so I really don't think it helps them all that much, if at all. I think they've learned how to compete on it, which is basically to ignore it and to just continue to read ball motion like they normally do. But it is cool for us as fans to be able to see the transition and what the players are doing to the lanes as they play.
Nice shot there from AJ, bouncing back after the 2-8-10. Last time up on 39. And I think for Francois, what we're seeing here is if he throws it good, he's got the room right now. If he, I mean, he's got to be right on top of it.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit of a something there. That's all you really want on today's condition. Just give me a little bit of something, and I can make that work. I can work with that. And so, you'd never want to make the shot that he made first shot on a new pair because you're moving pair to pair and they're going to be different. And so he might have just put himself a little behind the 8 ball with making an errant shot that first frame, not getting a read. And so it might have taken him one extra frame to kind of figure out what he wanted to do. But he's making micro adjustments right now. And so when those micro adjustments stop working, then it's time to get off of that line and try something different. But you really try to stay in the line for as long as you can. If you have something that's working, you don't want to have to move. And these players are so good that they can usually make something work for a lot longer than a normal bowler would just by making little hand position adjustments or speed adjustments because they'd much rather do that than try a different part of the lane completely and a different ball. That's a very, very risky move in relation to just trying to milk what it is that you're doing where you're comfortable.
Taking a look around the NBS here at the moment. Nothing too crazy going on. Your guy, Stu Williams, though, clean with a 4-bagger right now.
Yeah, he actually did make a move, Aaron. He jumped left, but he stayed with urethane and just slowed the ball down and increased his axis rotation. And he made that move in about the 4th frame. And he's gone 5-bagger now.
Nick Pate putting together a nice game. He can still get to 247. Another nice shot for Frankie. Ninth frame for Lavoie. That one a little.
It's a great break. We'll take that all day. But
a little more up the lane on that one. And
yeah, it wasn't a bad shot. It was just a little, like you said, a little up the lane, and there's just no help. Whew. Narrowly avoiding the chop, but chance for a big game here.
oh, Nathan really wanted that double right there. That was a great shot. Dirty ring 10. Shame on it. Nathan's such a nice guy. Pin should know better.
That's why the U.S. Open's so brutal. You do what you have to do to hit the pocket, and sometimes that means giving up your carry percentage. But man, when you're trying to grind out a game like he has, he's had 2 strikes the whole game, 1 open. He's in the 180s, and he finally figures out the pair, makes a great shot in the 9th, and leaves that, and it's just crushing. Stu finishes with 234. So making a big run. My team is looking good.
He's going to be moving up the leaderboard. 243 for Nick Pate to get to plus 25 on the day. Sam Cooley, 222 to get to plus 20. Stu now 113 over through 4. And JT, you predicted we'd get to someone would get 200 over. You said it boldly early in the broadcast. Stu's already halfway there. And he's on your team.
It's making me look doubly smart, which is hard to do. Oh, little trip 4 for Frankie. All right, let's see if he gets. My guess is he'll stay with the urethane one more shot, and then we'll get a look on his fill ball. Big shot here, to strike so that you can get a look at a different ball on the fill. But he's going to go for the pins. Some players might try something here because they've already got the first hit in the 10th. But Frankie going to go for the pins. And if he gets this strike, I can guarantee you that he will be looking at another ball.
We want him to strike then if that's the case. Oh,
there it is.
Don't you know I have 2 U.S. Open titles?
There he goes.
Frankie.
What's he doing, Aaron?
Away he goes.
Another ball?
Away he goes. You love to see it. The ball change on the fill.
Bring in the reactive. Let's get a look.
Oh. Going to be a rough one here for Nathan. Drake Church going to be giving some pins back.
Not a big jump left for Frankie there on the look. He might have just wanted to see what that ball did off the same spot, because at some point, he knows he's going to have to jump left. So he could be getting a read on, the furthest point right that he wants to throw the ball to, just to see how hard it bounces off that spot, so that the next time he gets an opportunity to throw it, assuming the pair is kind of reading the same as this one, he'll know how many boards left he's got to move when he makes that ball change. So that's another strategy for kind of figuring out what you want to move into next. You know, you can actually jump and make the actual move you think is going to work, but you also just might want to see how much more juice that ball has off the same spot.
I like it. 235 for Francois, gets him to plus 119. AJ 202 to get to plus 29. Nathan's going to drop to plus 56. As we get ready for game 5, we are cruising along here. B squad competitors on the lanes here at the 2021 US Open. This is their second qualifying round. Yesterday was on our 36-foot condition. Today, 40 feet. But the one everyone had circled, 1-to-1 across the board, flat as they can be. And game 5 coming up next. We just had Nick Pate roll a nice game, 243. So looks like he, Brandon Biondo, and Sam Cooley will be heading to this channel next. So we'll go ahead. JT's getting the cameras switched up, so we're covered across the board.
We'll move to your next pair and begin the next game.
Let's see, what can we play for you guys while we get there? A little Bull TV promo for our $49.95 limited time deal this week only. Music on the way. There we go, folks. $49.95 plus transaction fees. Pick up Bull TV annual subscription, limited time offer, $49.95. We'll have that promo running through this Saturday. And here we go. Sam Cooley, Nick Pate, and Brandon Biondo. Our first time seeing these folks compete. We'll see their path to the pocket. Paid at plus 99 overall. Sam Cooley at plus 81. Brandon at minus 219. We just did get a late score update after 3, so we'll go ahead and read that off and get ready for results after 4 soon. Brent Boho actually moved into the overall tournament lead at plus 318. Obviously, we still got a couple squads left to go, but continuing to lead the way here for the B squad competitors. Christian Ascona was at plus 234 after 3. Zach Tackett at plus 210. Chris Vi at plus 209. Sean Lavery-Spar at plus 208. Michael Davidson at plus 195. Once again, these are scores after 3 today, 11 total. Anthony Nair plus 193. Belmo plus 185. Brian Robinson plus 178. Jesper Svensson plus 176. Danielle McCune plus 139. Carl Walgren plus 122. Stu Williams Was that plus 103? Yeah, another big game. So Beef Stew moving on up. And then
Team JT.
And then Tim Foy plus 103 as well. So those were the players plus 100 or more.
Have a quick funny
After
story
11.
about Brent Boho, Aaron Smith.
Let's get it.
So we talked about, what a remarkable week he's having so far. And when somebody comes out of the woodwork, I mean, obviously we knew Brent and we know he's a really good bowler, and he's had success at team trials and junior gold and through the USBC programs. But, the folks that are fans of the PBA may not have known who this kid is. But I will say, after the first game today, he was talking to Sean Ryan and asking him how to fill out his score sheet because he didn't understand what to put where on the score sheet. So, and I saw you got a quizzical look on your face, like, hey, this is day 2. You should know, right? He already went through day 1, but the score sheet's different on day 2 because it brings the score from day 1 onto the score sheet. So he was like, what do I do, and where do I put stuff? So he doesn't even know how to fill out a score sheet, but yet he's basically leading the U.S. Open. So I just thought that was a fun little story. It's pretty crazy.
It is pretty wacky. Speaking of wacky, these guys are left.
Here it is.
Get the big wheel out. Start turning the bus.
You just, it's kind of like the anticipation, right? You're waiting for the dam to break. You're waiting for the migration to happen. You're waiting for the scene in Jurassic Park where the gallimimuses are running away from the T-Rex. That's what's happening right now. It's happening. They're jumping left. This is it. This is it, man. To roll out my Apollo Creed, my lackluster Apollo Creed quote from the other day.
You got to do Apollo more justice.
Get your cameras ready. He's going down. Is that better?
You're getting there. It'll come around. We'll have that peak moment.
You rolled out a ding, ding the other day. That was a good one. Good Apollo Creed line.
It's very simple, but very powerful. I mean, JT, when you look at where Nick's playing, obviously this is game 5 because it says it right there on the screen. So that's the only reason I know who or where I'm at most of the time. But what's the move once this stops working? I mean, yeah. Did you expect us to see some folks lofting it by the time we got to the back end of this block?
No, I did not. So, yeah, the move is punt if this doesn't work because there is nowhere else to go.
Well, the good news for Nick, he shot 243, I believe, last game. So I must have saw something he liked, and obviously a nice start here in game 5. And gladly take that one. She tries to examine what went wrong, but and folks, I told you we'd have a quick score update after 4, and we do. So we'll get that to you in just a quick second here. Continuing to lead, Brent Boho, plus 323. These are scores through 4 for B squad overall. 12 games total, plus 323 for Brent Boho. Sean Lavery Spar, plus 232. Zach Tackett, plus 204. And we've seen some guys who were a little bit closer to the top falling back a little bit here. Got Zach Tackett. I mentioned Zach, plus 204. Christian Ascona, last 2 games, 183, 160, plus 194. Brian Robinson, he's been good today. He's been really good today. 94 over, plus 190 overall. A little bit of a struggle so far for Michael Davidson. 751 for 4, but he's still at plus 183 overall. Belmo, plus 178. Chris Vi started last game with 4 consecutive opens to finish with 152. He drops to plus 161. Anthony Nyer, plus 155. Danielle McCune, after a 158 start, has battled back pretty nicely. 230, 206, 203. She's just minus 3 overall in the day, plus 142 overall. Stu, JT, your guy, moving along, plus 113 on the day, plus 137 overall. Jesper was looking pretty good until last game, 150 last game. So he's plus 126 now. Up and down day for Tim Foy Jr., 150, 240, 170, 220. For 793, he's plus 125 overall. Francois Lavoie, we saw that nice 235 last game. He's at plus 119 now. Oscar plus 104. Nick Pate, we're watching him right now, plus 99. 243 last game. Tough day so far for Carl Walgren. He was 175 over after yesterday, now plus 83. Sam Cooley has battled back after a 163 start. He's 20 over on the day, plus 81 overall. Nathan Bohr, plus 56. Spencer Robarge, plus 49. AJ Johnson, plus 29. Michael Teng, plus 28. There's some scores for you good folks. Through 12 for B squad. Good note in the chat. Taking a look at live scoring. Carlos Granados, front 6 on 73 and 74. Chris Vi having a nice bounce back game here, 6 out of the first 7. AJ Johnson finding some steam here in day 2. Spare 5-bagger. Ildemaro Ruiz, open 6-bagger. Nothing else too crazy on the squad at the moment. Taking a look around on live scoring. Available to you here on Bowl TV. New feature for today, folks. We mentioned it a little bit earlier in the broadcast, but if you're in the chat right now, we appreciate the conversation as always. If you got any questions, feel free to toss them up. Myself or JT will do our best to answer them, or potentially make something up and make it sound like it's true. But to the tab, just to the right, where you see it says chat, and then you see 4 little options. The one to the right of that is actually bowl.com. So the results page for the U.S. Open, which has the oil patterns, the lane pairings, link to the live scoring, all that stuff is available right there. So you can just go ahead and click on those options to kind of pull the same information we're pulling from. So essentially all the things we're using on the broadcast to get you information throughout the course of the day is at your fingertips. So a brand new option here on Bowl TV for today. Feel free to check it out. Keep tabs of everything going on here at the USO. We'll welcome JT back into the booth. He's moved his location, but he looks comfy, and that's the important part. He's lounging in the Bowl TV studio.
Yes, you have to be comfy sometimes during the U.S. Open. How about that terrible break there for Nick Pate in the 7th? Really good shot. Leaves a 4-pin and gets a little company with the 10-pin. What the heck? That was
that was something else, because looking at that shot, really didn't see anything that would suggest that the 10-pin with the angle that was coming in at. 4-pin, okay, I can see that, but don't like coming away with that particular leave in that situation, especially working on a couple strikes like that. All of a sudden you're thinking maybe I'm trip 4, trip 9 situation, or I'll take an easy single pin spare, but paying the ultimate price with just a rough luck more than anything else.
Yeah, for sure. And again, U.S. Open, you don't like seeing stuff like that. You need all the pins you can get. But what's interesting here, we're watching 3 guys who are hooking the bejesus out of it right now, right? And it's game 5, and you've got 2 squads of players all sitting back in their hotel rooms watching Bowl TV, and they're watching this pair.
Hi, players.
Hi, guys and ladies. Hope you're all doing well. Good luck. It's not as bad as you thought it might be today. So, chin up. But the one thing they're going to have to decide is, these players are making it look pretty decent, right? The hook, the old big hook, big wheel. And so these players that are coming up next are going to have to ask themselves how quickly they're going to try to get left. And that will dictate the scoring pace on the next 2 squads. I think that this squad did a really good job of staying right for as long as possible. And they've been able to squeak out some scores a lot better than, we thought they might be able to. Sam Cooley going with a little loft. You said we might see some loft. I said no, but Sam Cooley with a little bit of loft. I thought there might be more loft from where Frankie was playing last game, just to try to stay in the track, but that was legit loft right there. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly the players try to get left on the next 2 squads. And if they try to get left a little too quickly, I think that's going to have a negative impact on the scoring pace.
JT, that takes me back to the old days of the double burn, and here at the U.S. Open, something that was in place for a couple of years. That final squad by the final day just always got so crazy torn up. Everyone would get more aggressive day by day. A squad day 1 was always so polite. They were the nicest out there. Everyone tried to stay out, play nice. If you caught C squad that day, usually they're pretty hittable. But everyone would just get more aggressive earlier and earlier. And then all of a sudden, that patience we talked about earlier wasn't necessarily there. Folks were trying to get the pins when they could, more aggressive, get left quicker, and then ultimately made that final squad of the day just brutal sometimes. But obviously this is a little different now. Everyone hitting the fresh, but that kind of the same idea comes into play is how patient are these other squads going to be? And obviously, you could talk to the players on your group. The ball reps can talk and say, hey, we want you to stay in urethane here for 4 games, this is what happens. But ultimately, it's up to the player. If they don't like what they see, this is a big time event. They're going to make their moves when they do. But it will be interesting to see that patience and that tipping point as well, when everybody just says, "All right, bombs away time."
Those are some excellent points, and B squad on day 3 at the U.S. Open with the double burn. Nice little love tap there on the 10 pin to get the double for Nick Pate. It was a bloodbath. Like you said, Aaron, the players tended to start further left each day as the days went on. Now, obviously, there isn't even a single burn at the U.S. Open this year. There's a re-oil after every single round of qualifying. But I will say you're seeing a lot of hook this game. I mean, you're seeing Sam Cooley loft it and, has a pretty decent look. He's shooting 2-0 this game. Nick Pate, if it wasn't for that 410, if that strikes, he's shooting 250 this game. He's still going to be in the 220s with one more strike here. That wasn't terrible, but it looks like really the key, if you're going to try to play where Nick is playing, is you can't miss left. You have to get the ball right. And the reason you get that far left is to keep the ball away from the OB. So it's there, but the question is how quickly do you want to get to that point in the block? And like you said, very wisely, these players, the relationship between the player and the ball rep is very much like a caddy relationship in golf. The caddy can tell the player 4-iron all he wants, but if that player wants to hit a 5-iron, the player is ultimately going to make the decision and live with it or not. And if a caddy gets a little too overbearing and the guy hits a 4-iron and he hits it over the back of the green into the water, he is not going to be happy with that caddy. So as a player, you have to live and die by your own decisions. And so if you're not seeing the ball do what you like, you're going to make a move, especially if you're behind the 8 ball in terms of your score and you've got to make something happen. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the next 2 squads, how quickly they try to jump left.
221 for Nick Pate there. It's going to get to plus 120, 203 for Sam Cooley, plus 84. Brandon with the first strike in the 10th. Big game from Chris Vi, 278 to bounce back after that 150 effort in the previous game. So Chris going to bounce back and gain some pins. 150, 270. It's the U.S. Open, folks.
Yeah, I mean, that's huge. That's like, to use another golf analogy, it's like making a triple bogey and then following it up with 4 or 5 straight birdies.
Ildemaro Ruiz, 246 this game to get him to almost even for the block, -5. Michael Davidson's going to be in the 230s. Another solid game for Danielle. She's plugging along, 212. She's plus on the day now. AJ Johnson, 224. Really nice day for AJ. Getting some pins back here after a rough day yesterday. Stu, who was leading the way on this squad, gave a couple pins back, 180 this game. But still plus 93 through 5 games here on this 40-foot condition.
Yeah, Stu's my guess is, I didn't get to see him bowl this game, but he started to run into that transition we were talking about with the urethane. If you remember, he moved left with urethane and tried to shape it, softened up his ball speed, opened up his axis rotation to get the ball around the corner. It worked for a game, but now it's not going to be working so much because now he's going to have to get so far left that nobody's got enough hand to get it back around the corner with the way that the lanes have transitioned. So he's going to have to make a move to reactive and kind of figure out the new tube that he needs to play in and try to finish off this block strong.
We're going to be getting ready for game number 6 here soon, folks. Once again, once everybody finishes up, we will go ahead and have everybody move to their next pair and start up. You will hear the announcement over the intercom as well from on site at the NBS, the National Bowling Stadium, the Taj Mahal 10 pins, 78 lanes of fun on the 4th floor of the National Bowling Stadium. Just 3 games left to go here for our opening squad. Once again, a reminder, the players on C squad will be up next, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here on BowlTV.com. And then A squad will hit the lanes last today, 9 p.m. Eastern. That squad includes our tournament leader after day 1, Jacob Buttriff. And that awkward quietness across the place, just several folks finishing up. Patiently awaiting Game 6. Well, since we have the opportunity, some of you folks may have seen it yesterday when we played it, but Jillian Martin, the young 16-year-old standout, made a splash at the PWBA Kickoff Classic Series earlier this year in January. Did something pretty cool, so let's take a look. Split conversions. Let's go. All right, we're going to stick on the same channel here. We've been having some good players rolling through. Let's see what Carlos Granados, Michael Tang, and defending champion Jason Belmonte have in store for game number 6. Some struggles today for Michael, down to +2 now. He started the day at +118, so looking to get something going. Carlos at -169. Belmo +169. We'll see how they're attacking the lanes here.
Game number 6, getting to watch Belmo here, Aaron Smith, and this is a good opportunity for the rest of the field watching at home to get a roadmap on the right way to play this pattern towards the end of the block. Although Belmo's given players a roadmap for a long time, and it seems like he's still always come out on top.
He's pretty good, not going to lie.
Well, if you want to get into, the whole players who have had advantages because of the way that they bowl over the years. And, if you look at, the early eras with Dick Weber and Don Carter, they were just the best shot makers, and that's what made them great. But then as technology changed and as, the game has evolved, you saw a big shift in the way the game was played when Mark Roth came out on tour. And he had pretty utter domination, the likes of which I think we haven't even seen to this day for a number of years. But if you look at his body of work, basically from 1978 until about 1986, that is when he had, his most dominant time. And then everybody figured out what he was doing and started to do it themselves. Pete Weber was inspired to bowl the way he bowled by watching Mark Roth. And a whole crop, a generation of players came out on tour with the power game. Belmo was really the next evolution of that process. He came out with this two-handed style. It generated more power than anybody's ever seen, but he's been doing it for a long time. And so, the players have had, plenty of opportunity to kind of figure out what's made him so great and duplicate it. But he's still on top, which is pretty remarkable. It's been 10 years now. And, but he has certainly shown the world a new and excellent way to play this game. And to get back to what's happening today, having a really great day out on the lanes, and the players who are watching at home, I'm sure they're taking notice. And Belmo from way downtown.
From way downtown.
Yeah, no, he's got a little room. That one actually wasn't from way downtown. That actually was in a little bit, and it just set up sweet and sent 10 back. So he's got a little bit of room now. And he's got 2 more games after this to put up a big score. I mean, I would not be surprised to see him get to 300 over with the look he's got right now.
All right, folks, I'll have a score update here in just a moment for you. Scores rolling in after game number 5. And still leading here on B squad, Brent Boho, plus 73 on the day, plus 316 overall, doing his thing. And Chris Vi, 152, 278 to jump back to second on the squad. He's at plus 239. It's a roller coaster of emotions out there. Michael Davidson, plus 218. Sean Lavery Spar, plus 214. Once again, these are just competitors on this squad, B squad. Christian Ascona, plus 206. Zach Tackett, plus 197. Brian Robinson, all 200s on the board so far, plus 194. Anthony Nyer, plus 180. Belmo, plus 169. We're watching him right now. Danielle McCune, plus 154. Jesper bounced back after 150, 215. He's at plus 141. Tim Foy, plus 123. Nick Pate, plus 120. We watched him last game. Stu Williams, plus 117 overall. Francois, plus 95. Sam Cooley, plus 84. Nathan Bohr, plus 72. Osku, plus 69. Carl Walgren, plus 64. Spencer Robarge, plus 60. AJ Johnson, plus 53. Just a couple players plus here today. Question about the cut from Jay Cruz. Sure. At the moment, plus 90. Ryan Lakota, who's on C squad, so he'll be bowling on the next squad. But as JT predicted, didn't think that number was going to change too much, and we started off right around there. After round number 1, the number was indeed plus 90. Obviously, a lot of bowling left to go today to have that come in and develop, but has stayed pretty similar for the top 36. In addition to Belmo's strong start, taking a look at live scoring. Sam Cooley, nice little start. He can get to 259 this game. 256 still out there for Nick Pate. Four out of 5 to start for Spencer. Make that 5 out of 6. Once again, taking a look at live scoring here, folks. Right now, Belmo the man. As far as in-game performance in Game 6 so far.
We've seen that kind of all the last couple of weeks here at the stadium with Belmo. His bad shots are he kind of sticks a little bit and grabs it, and the ball goes high. And, you know, we've seen it with Kyle Troop as well. He's had a lot of issues with his footing this week, but it seems like it's a fairly unique problem to those two players. You know, we haven't seen a lot of other players, you know, struggling with approach issues here. A little disappointing frame there for Belmonte, but still a good game going. He can go off the sheet for 256. Much better shot there, but a ring 10. Aaron, one of my favorite moments at the U.S. Open, memories, I should say, it wasn't really a moment, was I got to call an entire block of qualifying with the great Mark Roth.
How about that?
Yeah, it was so cool. I remember a number of things about that experience, but one was we had Brian Valenta come across our featured pair, and to see the look on Mark Roth's face when Brian Valenta was throwing the ball 30 feet down the lane in the air was just to see, somebody who was the start of that, right? He was the one that started the world on the way of wanting to bowl with more power, and to see it basically Brian Valenta was the pinnacle of that at the time, of just loft and power and revs, and bowled really well in that particular U.S. Open. And just Mark Roth was flabbergasted at the ability and what he was doing. And what was funny is he said he didn't really like it that much. Mark Roth's now a bit of a purist, which is amazing considering the impact that he had on setting the evolution of the sport forward. But the thing that I remembered most about Mark was his uncanny ability, as soon as the ball left the player's hand, to know if it was going to strike or not. He just had this natural way of understanding what a good shot was. And he was, okay at breaking it down from a technical standpoint, but he just knew instinctively if it was good or not. And that was kind of how the way he played the game. And it was a lot of fun to get to call the action with him. I was always a little intimidated by Mark Roth because he's had the gruff New York, New Jersey personality, and but he was the first player whose autograph I ever got back in 1985. He couldn't have been nicer. It was him and Ernie Schlegel at Town Square Lanes in Riverside, and my dad and I got to the bowling center really early that morning to watch, and Mark and Ernie were sitting there having breakfast in the coffee shop, and my dad said, "Why don't you go get their autographs, son? Just go over there and get their autographs." And I was like, "Oh, I can't do that, Dad. That's Mark Roth. I mean, he's like the king, And so my dad forced me to do it, which he's done that a lot, and it's usually he was usually right. I was glad I did it. Went over and talked to him. Both of those guys couldn't have been nicer. And then, 30 years later, I get to call a round of the U.S. Open with him. It was pretty cool.
Very cool indeed. I'm going to come back to that second, make it full circle from last night's broadcast. But first, just some updates around the house. Stu Williams going in the wrong direction, JT. 146 that game. AJ Johnson, 219. AJ's having a phenomenal day on this, plus 89 on the day, so he was minus to start. Francois is going to be in the 250s here. Sam Cooley, 248. Nick Pate, another big game, 243. We saw them wheeling and dealing on this pair last game. Jesper can get into the 230s. Spencer having a nice game as well. He can get into the 250s. But you mentioned kind of the evolution there of, Mark Roth starting the power game which eventually kind of led to the next evolution of that to an extent. And we're talking two-handed and lofting and all this great stuff. So technically, last night, Mike Flanagan got on me for leaving 4-5. So technically, Mark started the revolution that took away my A game, is what I'm hearing. And so apparently I was meant to be a bowler in the 60s and 70s based off of early 70s, based off of that. So at least now I know where my prime would have been pre the power game.
You were just born in the wrong time.
I was just born in the wrong era. That's it. 253 for Francois Lavoie. Big game out there. Carlos gets to 200 even. Belmo can get to 221 here. Gonna try something different.
I'm bummed about Stu's 140, but I'm not surprised because he was right on the edge of me needing to make a move. And, that's, as we mentioned earlier, you take a big risk when you jump zones and make ball changes. And he either tried to stay in something a little too long or, he tried to make the move and took him a little bit of time to figure it out. But he's got a couple more games to try to get it back. But Francois, it looks like we saw him finish the game before with a look at a different ball, and it looks like that planning paid off. He shot 250 that last game, and my guess is he moved into that other ball that he got a look at at the end of the game that we saw here on Bowl TV. Well, Aaron, I've got a special treat for the folks at home. I actually was able to pull a clip of that Brian Valenta and Mark Roth.
How about that?
Yeah, you guys want to check that out?
Let's watch it, JT. Take it away.
Get one more replay of Valenta on the left lane so we can see the air a little better that he's getting.
No, we got to color the air.
Yeah, right.
Get
Do
some
a little
blue color.
Yeah.
Exhaust out of an airplane.
And maybe measure the exact arrow he really is playing. Maybe he's playing the 10th arrow. I don't know.
He's playing the division captain.
All right, so let's get another look at that last shot by Valenta. See where he's standing. He's actually left of the cap. No slide, just gonna plant. Flip it up.
It's up to his shoulders.
And let's see where that's crossing. That's crossing the cap. So he's definitely at the 9th arrow.
1,
2 bounce.
2.
Run it out.
2 bounces, then a skid.
Bang.
Starts it on 28, finishes on 30.
That's pretty cool.
Sharp.
There we go, folks. Pick up
That
your
was-
Charmin Ultra today.
Darn YouTube with their commercials. But no, that was fun stuff, and it
Very cool.
It was a treat getting to call the U.S. Open with the great Mark Roth.
Absolutely. That was good stuff. And unfortunately now you can go to the other end of the spectrum. And unfortunately you have to do the U.S. Open now with Aaron Smith. So losses all around once again for me. But that's okay because we got 2 games left to go here, folks. We'll head back to the lanes as players begin to move around the house once again. So we'll see who we're going to watch next. JT, anyone in particular you'd be curious to break
I'd
down?
be curious to watch Stu. He's on 53 and 54 and see, if he can bounce back from that 140. My guess is he's going to come down the stretch with a couple of big games because he had that whole last game to kind of figure out what he wanted to do. So I would like to watch him and see if he can bounce back.
All right, 53 and 4. We'll go there in a second, folks, but let's take a look at the Bowl TV schedule coming up here for the U.S. Open this week as we continue through Monday and Tuesday in the books. We are at Wednesday now, so that means that whole right side still left to come here on Bowl TV. All right, we're getting the cameras switched up here, folks. Those will all be set to go in just a minute. And thank you again for watching on Bowl TV, the 2021 U.S. Open taking place at the Taj Mahal of 10 Pins, the National Bowling Stadium in Reno, Nevada. 78 lanes of fun on the 4th floor of the historic venue. So those cameras will be up in just a second, folks. All right, we're back in business here. Game 7. Stu Williams, Brandon Curtis, and Zach Tackett. All right, here in 53 and 54, Stu clean through 3. Early double for Brandon Curtis. Zach Tackett looking for 3 in a row.
Zach's done a nice job of kind of hanging on. We saw him a little bit earlier in the block, and it didn't feel like he had a very good look, but he's done a really good job of grinding it out this block, and actually looks like he's pretty well lined up with 2 games to go. So good job by Zach hanging in there on this very difficult 40-foot oil pattern.
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. He's had a really, really nice run in Reno. Nice showing at the Masters. 300 game during the PTQ here at the U.S. Open, and gotta like that plus 200 number next to your name right now at the U.S. Open. So
you can see Stu's definitely made that move left, big jump, and looks like he's pretty well lined up. While I was switching the cameras there, I got a little bit of an insight. He tried a ball the first shot of this game. He came back and said, I threw that perfect. I aced it. They switched him to a different ball, and now it looks like he's got a pretty good look. He went strike, 4-pin strike, and so he'll make a little move on that right lane. It might just be hooking a touch more, and if he strikes here on this next one, it might be off to the races. And we'll jump over real quick. I was curious to see where Francois Lavoie was. He shot that big 250 in the last game. And we had covered him a couple of games ago as he was coming down the stretch with urethane. Let's see where he's playing now here in game number 7.
Still looking pretty far right.
Yeah, that's surprising. Nathan Bohr pretty far to the right himself. He's at plus 80. AJ Johnson's had a nice day today, bouncing back. He's at plus 72. Getting himself back in the tournament.
That's it's got to be a positive side for hopefully for Kyle Troop, who had a rough opening block. Is in the minus as well. To see if he can start moving up some spots on the leaderboard, get to plus, and put himself in position to maybe make a run on day 3 to make the top 36. But we'll have his work cut out for him today.
Yeah, this is not the day you wanted to come into and say you had to shoot 150 over. But as we've seen, it is out there. They're tough, but they're maybe not as tough as they thought they would be. And if the next 2 squads break them down like this squad has, there could be some good scores for the rest of the day to be had.
JT, have you ever seen just a roll call meeting, except with players only? You know, you hear about that in basketball where all of a sudden 2 or 3 players on the squad just gather up everybody before a squad starts and says, hey, you, everybody, listen up. This is what we're going to do. Is that a thing? Has that ever happened?
No. but it kind of happens, in a de facto way, where the players all kind of get the same ideas, and a lot of the players, are listening to their ball reps, and so the ball reps are a lot of the times dictating, the strategy for the whole squad. And if you see the best players doing it, you're going to be paying attention, and if it's working, you're all going to be doing it as well. So there are ways that happens without them all getting together and making a pact and agreeing that that's what they're going to do. The other thing that I've always found interesting about the U.S. Open in particular is as the tournament goes on, you start to see patterns developing, right? Where, hey, they're all playing here this day, they're all playing here this day. Now, this particular format's a little different because there's 4 patterns, but I always found it interesting that you'd come out for a match play block, and everybody had been starting at third arrow, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, everybody in the field's starting at first arrow, and you're like, well, where did that come from? We haven't played there all week. And so it's just interesting how those things happen, but it's not because the players are all getting together and agreeing on it.
Do have a score update after 6 games here today, round 2. So these are B squad totals only after 14 games. That's right, Nathan. You let them know. Brent Boho continuing to lead the squad, plus 329. Michael Davidson has found some momentum here, 235, 236 his last 2 games. He's at plus 254. Chris Vai plus 246. Zach Tackett, we're watching him right now, plus 203. Brian Robinson continuing to move up. He's plus 101 on the day, plus 197 overall. Sean Lavery Spar plus 192. Belmo plus 189. Christian Ascona plus 189. Jesper Svensson plus 178. Nick Pate plus 89 on the block. He's plus 163 overall. Francois Lavoie plus 148. Anthony Nyer plus 136. Danielle McCune plus 135. Sam Cooley plus 132. Spencer has gotten up to plus 107. 247 last game for him. Tim Foy plus 104. Osku plus 80. Nathan plus 80. AJ Johnson plus 72. Stu Williams plus 63. Zach Tackett looking to make a move here. Shoot 268.
Stu still with the chance for 243 also. Make that 233, sorry. I got fooled by the sync scoreboards here. Oh, trip that 4, baby. Team JT.
The aggressiveness on an early Wednesday morning, or I guess it's afternoon now here. It's still morning over there for you. But
those are huge, Aaron Smith.
Cash them in.
Strike in the 8th. Chance to set it up for the 10th for 233, and you trip a 4. That's a slap off. I can't believe you didn't slap that one off.
Conversely, sometimes you just got to take them. Sack will cross over. Keep his run at 260 still alive. Trying to think for this block. I think we had the 278 from Chris Vai. We've had a handful of 250s. I think that's been about it.
Well, we didn't expect to see a lot of big scores today, but in general, the scoring pace has been pretty good. A lot better than I think what we thought it would be. Let's see if Stu can parlay that tripped 4 into a turkey. Looks good. Oh, Stu. Playing it cool. One more for the 230s here for Stu Williams. And a nice bounce back after that 140 in game number 6.
Oh, you mean just throw it over? Yeah. That way you don't see that early part. Okay, so maybe just do that on both, because the other lane's fine. I still did try to read, so maybe just on both lanes.
Oh, it's pretty. It's pretty. Love Stu's short little follow through. So he doesn't hold it up like Wesley Snipes in White Men Can't Jump. He just kind of holds it halfway up like a gunslinger after he shoots the guy, right? It's nice.
There you go.
An old Western film.
Interesting comparison. As always, JT. I like both.
Be cool if he could like spin his hand around like when they like in Tombstone when Val Kilmer shoots Johnny Ringo, right, and he spins the gun and puts it back in the holster. That would be awesome if there was like some way Stu could do that.
That would be interesting. I just don't know how the holster situation works in this.
Well, just like do you remember Chichi Rodriguez, the golfer?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, and he'd make the putts, and then he would do the sword fighting thing with his putter, and then he would pretend like he was holstering it back in the scabbard, something like that.
What? I don't know what the holster is. Do we have some type of fanny pack situation going on here? Is the holster? Is it a legit holster?
I'm definitely not advocating that Stu Williams wear a fanny pack. We gotta find some cool little thing though that bowlers can do after they throw the shot. Like when golfers hit a good one, they do the club twirl. What do bowlers do when they make a great shot? I mean, I know Stu kind of steps it out a little bit. You ever like when he's really feeling it? Yeah, he throws it and then he steps it out. We gotta have like a universal I just threw it great move for bowlers. I guess they post the shot, right? That's if they really want one, they just post it. They don't move at all. Kind of like it is the Wesley Snipes. It's pretty.
By the way, Norm Duke does that the best of anybody.
Yeah.
They'll hold the pose at the line, follow through.
Oh yeah.
No additional movement of the arm.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's Norm's thing.
Big 266 for Zach Tackett. Puts him to 269 over. Well done.
Indeed. AJ, a chance to get to 258 this game, and still have a chance for 240s there.
Frankie just bowling another great U.S. Open game. 9 spare, 9 spare, strike, 9 spare, 9 spare, 9 spare, strike, strike. Man.
Still fighting the good fight to the right.
Yeah. No, he's showing some people some things here, meaning some of the players coming up later. If you can do that little trick, which very few people can do, what Frankie does, that's there. But it really depends on, again, how the players choose to break the lanes down for the next two squads. If you see a lot of urethane going down the lane from the track, that'll be there later. And really what we're seeing from, the players like Stu and Belmo and some of the, Zach Tackett, some of the other, Sam Cooley, they've jumped so far left that they're not going to touch what Frankie's doing at all. So that's what's allowing him to stay out there.
Taking a look at live scoring right now as we wrap this game up. 233 from Danielle McCune. She's plus on the day. Plus 23 overall, and she's going to be in nice shape after 2 days. She's able to toss one more solid game here. Spencer's going to be in the 230s as well. Packy over 69 and 70. Can get to 249 still. Already got 1 strike in the 10th. Jesper, 240 still out there.
Another good solid shot there from Francois Lavoie. Spare and a strike, and he'll be in the mid 200s. Nothing but 9 spares and strikes. That's a classic U.S. Open game by a 2-time U.S. Open champion.
AJ collects a double. He's going to be in the 240s. He's going to get north of plus 100 here.
Wow, that's really good news for Matt Cannizzaro. We'll have our day 1 results at the top of the next round. Mike Flanagan will come in and reveal who is leading after day 1 in our fantasy draft pool.
Yes, it's interesting things indeed.
I mean,
Wahaha.
Yes, it is interesting things. And one of the things that is the most interesting that I noticed when we pulled up the results was out of all the players we picked, and we picked 36, which is 1/3 of this great field, only 3 players out of all of our picks were in the top 10 after day 1.
That is true. There were a couple of folks we did not pick who put together really nice performances and are continuing them today. Brent Boho has been strong throughout his 15 games of qualifying up to this point.
Big shot for Nathan Bohr here. He's plus 80. Can bail out a good game here. Oh, disaster. Those hurt, Aaron Smith.
They bounce here. They bounce here. Bounce that time.
Yeah, but that was a chance at 220 and ends up turning it into 190, and those are really tough to swallow.
All right, folks, we are getting ready for game 8, final game of B squad here for round 2 of qualifying at the 2021 U.S. Open. With that, we're going to remind everybody as we try to figure out where we're going to go next. Let's take a look at the lane pairing sheet available to everybody on bowl.com. head to 63 and 64. As we do that, folks, remember, super promo VIP special offer, $49.95 for a full year of Bowl TV. Limited time offer this week only. One heck of a deal. Limited time offer. As we join Garrett Andrus, Chris Vi, and Tim Foy. Vi at plus 256, Foy plus 100. Garrett a little bit farther back, minus 293.
Final game of round 2 here for the B squad. Got Tim Foy Jr., Chris Vi.
Tim Foy's still pretty far right here, JT. We just saw that with Francois as well, but Tim trying to avoid the big step left.
Yep, Garrett Andrus also on this pair as well. But yeah, that's a little surprising. Tim certainly able to get left and hook it like we're seeing Chris Vi do, but again, it's a big risk to make that jump, you know, and I think Tim feels if he can get in the house with another 200 game here from where he is, he'll be in good shape. He's right around that 100 over number that we talked about being the place where everybody is looking to get to by the end of today, if not more.
I think that's a fair way of looking at it as well, JT, is, you know, we kind of talked about how if everybody plays nice the first couple of games and plays out and then makes the move, it could be pretty nice. But at the same time, obviously an individual sport. And, you know, how much does that safe factor come into play for some folks, knowing that I had a pretty good day, or I'm in a position where, you know, if I don't give away, you know, too many pins, I feel confident with what I saw in the third pattern. You know, we talked about patience, but safety's got to come into it as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I talked to Chuck Gardner during the switch between games, and he just said, "Man, they're hard." And I said, "Yeah, but there's scores out there, and the scores from yesterday put pressure on them to find score today." And he said, "Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. But you know that can bring some 140s into play, and it's true. And you really have to decide if you want to try to go into the break today with 200 your last game and just be okay with it, or if you want to try to shoot 240, which brings 140 into play." But just looking across the center, I do see some good scores already. Anthony Nyer has a good game going, although he did gutter spare on a 3-bagger in the 8th frame. But he still has a possible 230 or better. Nick Pate, 4-bagger, 9 count, 9 spare now on 35 and 36. On 43 and 44, which is a pair that we don't have on our featured streams. We've got Ildemaro Ruiz with spare 4-bagger spare, and Jesper Svensson with spare 4-bagger to start, and he's at plus 211. So he's very dangerous. Danielle McEwen trying to hang on. She's got 3 opens in her first 6 frames on 47 and 48. And Michael Davidson on that same pair with Danielle McEwen. He's having a great U.S. Open. He's at plus 233, and he's got strike, spare, turkey to start game number 8 here. Oh, roll that 2-pin. And Garrett Andrus, possible 280 here to close out the day. Chris Vide just trying to get it into the house here without doing too much damage. He's in the 180s right now currently. Sorry, 178 pace. So can still bail out 198. Tim Foy just piping it. Garrett Andrus keeping it going. Boy, if he could shoot 280 here, how many players in the field would give him a chunk of change to trade for that last game here? Big shot here for Chris Vide to try to bail this game out. Something didn't feel right. They reload. Can go off the sheet for 198. And that would make lunch taste a whole lot better. To get out of here with 198 and be more than 250 over going into the last day of qualifying. He'd feel pretty good about it, but One more frame to try to get the job done here. Uh-oh. Wow. Just did not like that one at all. And now maybe in the 160s if you can't convert this 3-4-10. I'll tell you, it's just so interesting, the psychology of this. If you would have told Chris Vi that he'd finished the day at 230 over, he probably would have taken it and been pretty happy. But the way he's finishing here, assuming he doesn't make this split, the difference between 230 over and 250 over, it's going to make the rest of make him a little bit more sour the rest of the day. It's got a chance. Nice conversion. Huge spare there. And he just went from being really grumpy the rest of the day to being moderately salty. Yeah, Chris, that was the one I wanted on the first shot in the 10th. But he'll take 178. He's in the house with 230 over, so great shape heading into the last day tomorrow for Chris Vi. And how about Garrett Andrus shooting 269 on Bull TV? Nice game, young man. Tim Foy, another one trying to get into the house here with a couple of strikes in the 10th. Great shot. That was, see the fist pump there. You really don't want to end the day with an open frame and 30 pins less than you could have had if you would have gone off the sheet in the 10th. And for Tim, if he can throw a couple more strikes, he'll be right around that plus 100 number going into tomorrow. Gets the little trip forward, another fist pump, and Tim Foy filling it up pretty well. We're going to jump over, catch the end of Francois Lavoie, AJ Johnson, and Nathan Bohr. And then we're going to try to get Francois Lavoie in for an interview immediately after the block. Bowling another classic U.S. Open game. Strike, 9 spare, 9 spare, strike, 9 spare, strike, 9 spare, 9 spare, strike.
JT, that's a lot of 9 spares and strikes.
I mean, it's a carbon copy of his last game, really. Just, he's basically made the decision here that, he's got a good enough look to hit the pocket and leave easy spares, and that's what he's going to go with. And that's just smart U.S. Open bowling by Francois Lavoie. He could have tried to move in and gotten tempted to maybe try to shoot some 240s coming into the house, but he realized I can shoot 2-0 from here, and if I catch a few breaks, maybe I shoot 220 or 230. That's plenty. Just get me in the house. And really smart way to finish the block. And, if he catches a couple of strikes here, he'll be in the 2 teens, be 160 over, and be in great position heading into tomorrow.
JT, you talked about those 10th frames and how they can go to end the day. Nick Pate. So AJ makes a double. Great day for AJ. Nick Pate had a chance to shoot 279. Opens in the 10th to finish with 245. So still a great game and a great day, but left about 30 out there potentially.
Yeah, it makes a big difference. I mean, he'll be comforted by the fact that he's going to be 181 over, but boy, Would have been nicer to be 220 over. So it looks like 191 over will be Nick Pate's number. So great bowling by Nick Pate today.
Mm-hmm. Taking a look around to see some of the bigger performances overall. Zach Tech at plus 100. There's quite a few folks in the plus 60, plus 70 range. AJ Johnson plus 147. Francois will be plus 60 with a strike on his fill ball. Jesper plus 99. Nick went plus 117 for the day, so only a couple people better than plus 100 here. AJ Johnson grinding to get to plus 130. And with just one shot left to go here, we're going to bring in Francois Lavoie to Bowl TV. So let's welcome the two-time U.S. Open champion in. Hello, Francois. How's it going after those 8 games?
It's going okay. It could be better, but it's certainly not bad, Aaron. Thanks.
Francois, we noticed the last 2 games was a classic 9-spare strike U.S. Open. We noticed you jumped around a little bit on fill balls to kind of get a different look because I think you may have seen there were some scores left to you, but you decided to stay to the right. Was the decision there that just shoot a couple of 2-0s and get out of here?
Yeah, throughout the day, it felt like if I was looking around, I could see some scores. So that kind of felt like it kind of made me feel like I could press a little bit and try to look for some scores myself. But at the same time, it wasn't the same people shooting big scores every game. So I just decided to stick with the game plan. And as hard as it is to do, just be satisfied with 9 spare. And yeah, like you said, the last 2 games, I had 1 double for 2-0 in game 7 and no double for 197, I think, in the last game. So just strikes and 9 spares only the last 2 games. So that's a little frustrating, but at the same time, that was kind of the game plan, and so it's hard to be too upset with it.
All right, Francois, intrigued by the game plan mentioned, and we saw most folks make the big jump left. Coming in today, did you expect to be that direct throughout all 8 games?
I didn't think so, honestly. It felt like there were 2 options for me. It was going to be that big jump left or straight. I thought I could get away with 4, 5, maybe 6 games playing straight, but I definitely thought I would have to go left. I think the amount of urethane that the field used as a whole helped preserve that part of the lane a little bit better. And so for me, that was a safer bet playing there than trying to go left and open up my angles too much.
It felt like there were a little bit better scores out there than maybe we thought. And then the scores that came into today felt like it put a little pressure on some of the players to take some chances. Are you happy with where you are heading into the last day of qualifying and then presumably, the cashier's round and match play?
Yeah, I've got mixed feelings. It's hard to say I'm not happy. Anytime you're bowling the U.S. Open and you're 140 over, 150 over, I'm not exactly sure what I'm at. It's not bad, but at the same time, it does feel like there was a little bit more out there. Both days, yesterday I felt like 90 over was pretty good, and then at the end of the day, I ended up being the cut number, I think. So I think there was a little bit more out there, but those 2 days are over now. I can't really think about that too much. I'm going to move forward and try to get as many pins as I can tomorrow.
All right, Francois. Well, we'll let you rest up for tomorrow. Once again, some nice bowling out there through 2 rounds, and best of luck the rest of the way out. We hope to talk to you a few more times.
Yep. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
All right, folks. Francois Lavoie, the 2-time champion, joining us here on Bowl TV. after his block, fighting the good fight there the last couple of games to put himself in position. And we talked a little bit about that and not wanting to this wasn't a block necessarily where most folks were going to get pins. It's more about maintaining. And Francois, he talked a little bit about the game plan and what he was seeing in order to, it takes patience. JT, that was a word you mentioned earlier. And he showed some patience, some restraint, knowing he wasn't going to put the 140, the 150s into play by making the jump there at the end.
Yeah, I mean, he pulled two really great games those last two games and shot 2-0, 190. I mean, he hit the pocket just about every shot, everything but he's just 9 spares and strikes those last two games and one double. And so, I mean, that's what you have to do at a U.S. Open. Normally it's that way the whole week, but we've seen a little bit of scoring this week. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how these next two squads break the lanes down. This squad had a lot of success staying to the right and throwing urethane, and then some of the field breaking off and throwing reactive to the left. But again, it was still a mixed bag. They were still really hard. It's still the U.S. Open. But how these next two squads choose to break down the lanes is going to determine the scoring pace. And the picture is going to start to take shape here as the day continues.
All right. Are you going to stick with your prediction that there is a plus 200 block out there for someone?
Boy, that's a great question. What was the high block here?
I think it was AJ at 147.
Ooh, man. I do think one person's going to find a way to get to 200 for the day. So I'm gonna stick with it. Got to stick with your guns, right? I'm gonna do the twirl thing and put it in my holster if I'm right at the end of the day.
There we go. Holsters for everybody. All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and sign off. We got about an hour and a half, 90 minutes or so to the next block, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 o'clock local time there in Reno at the National Bowling Stadium. C Squad's going to hit the lanes for their 8-game block on this 40-foot condition. Looking forward to seeing how the squad differs and how it's the same. But, we're going to see some great competitors out on the lanes. Once again, the best in the world coming to you right here on Bowl TV. So from the U.S. Open, we're going to take a quick break. But for our Bowl TV staff, Matt Cannizzaro, Mike Flanagan, Jason Thomas, I'm Aaron Smith. We'll see you soon right here on Bowl TV. Thank you again for joining us here for round number 2, qualifying from the 2021 U.S. Open. And folks, remember, on Bowl TV, bowling lives here. We'll see you at 4 p.m. Eastern. Continued coverage all day long, folks.
Take